right.
I feel like I'm going to break the camera.
You're ready.
We're ready to go? Okay. I think we've made some introductions. My name is Jerry Sickick. I'm with the Sports Marketing Department at Daktronics, and been doing that for about 20 years. And our goal is to be able to make availability, make opportunities, I think maybe a better word, for businesses in the community by using a digital video board. And kind of get a little bit more into that, but have maybe some other introductions. And if Lonnie, introduce yourself,
Yeah.
tell you what you do.
Well, you already know my last name, but Lonnie Hart, Daktronics. Jerry's more on the sponsorship side, but I'm more on the equipment side. So that's kind of my expertise, and talking about the equipment and how the benefits it can bring to a school. Obviously, entertainment's one thing, you know, whether you're doing hype videos or maybe highlighting your student athletes. But the other thing we're going to talk a little bit about from an advantage standpoint is opportunities for your students through curriculum that Daktronics created about 5-6 years ago.
So, and I think, Serenity, you need to introduce yourself. You're one of our interns.
Yes, my name is Serenity Morrison, and I'm one of the sales interns with Daktronics. So, shadowing Jerry and Lonnie to kind of get a better idea of sports marketing and then what all goes into getting my sports with them.
Serenity had a long ride to Missouri last week with the chat. That was a long day. So we appreciate our interns being part of it too.
Just real quick,
Yeah.
speaking of interns,
Yes.
Serenity was the intern group just after another intern who worked at Daktronics as an intern. You probably know him, Bailey Sage. So Bailey actually sat next to me. So we that's one thing about Daktronics is we're founded based on student opportunities. If you don't know the story, Daktronics was founded to provide opportunities for people from South Dakota State University and other universities to stay in our state. And Serenity is just one example, but Bailey Sage is another one, recent. And I actually got to sit by him. My desk was right next to Bailey's for about 9 months. So, yeah.
So with that being said, you guys are probably pretty familiar with Daktronics from Freeman here, but started back in '68. It's our 57th anniversary yesterday, I think, wasn't it? I thought I saw that in the newsletter, but yesterday, 57 years ago, when Al Kurtenbach, Dr. Al Kurtenbach, found a way to be able to keep those students from leaving the state of South Dakota. And so now we're publicly traded. We talked a little bit about that just a little bit ago as well. And should I show the video?
Why not?
Yeah, I'm going to show the video.
They say you should always go
They do a
back
better
to
job than me.
Well, we never left. We were dreamed by two South Dakota professors in 1968 keeping talented graduates working in South Dakota. More than 50 years later, supporting highly skilled American workers across 3 Midwest factories. Hurricanes, Sioux Falls, Redwood Falls. We call these places home. Daktronics designs, develops, and does detailed assembly right here in the United States using an advanced global parts network. And it supports more than 2,000 proud American employees. Engineers, programmers, project managers, service technicians, skilled manufacturers, and more. They're your neighbors. People that drive our business and keep your operation running are also the people that support our economy and call this place home. Reliable, secure products, all registered right here in the heart of America. Our roots are strong here, and we're not going anywhere. Daktronics, proudly American since 1968.
The cool thing on there, Lonnie was talking a little bit about our different plants that are around. So when you're buying it, it comes from close by. It's not far away whatsoever. So you probably maybe have not known where Daktronics is. You've probably seen message boards, and I think you guys are doing a demo today of a message board. If you've been by some banks, or if you've seen billboards, Daktronics, but also some of our larger professional and college leagues. Anybody a Viking fan here? Don't be afraid to raise your hand. They're not doing all that well, but don't be afraid. But the Vikings, If I was with Kyle Kramer, he's a Packer fan, and they're doing well right now. And they've got Daktronics, Twins, they didn't do so well. Iowa State, we're looking at that, University of Iowa, a little bit more local, South Dakota State, and then University of South Dakota. Augie, I think, where you went to school, is all Daktronics there as well. Should have had a picture of them up there too. USD. The reason I bring some of these up is because when Lonnie mentioned it a little bit on the curriculum side of it, these people are using the same sort of software that everyone, well, T South Dakota here at USD, they've got the computer no matter where it is. So these students get a chance to be able, they know what they're doing right away. T, we did that a couple years ago. Parkston, just down the road or up the road, what would you say in here? Over, up and over. Then Lennox down the road there a little bit. Flandreau, all these schools, and a small little town, I put this up there because they may be smaller than Freeman. And we did this here 2 years ago at Esteline. This is only about 10 miles away from my place. Another reason I put it on there. But they did video, same, basically the same size. But here's what we're looking to be able to put in there on the right side. And video, you want to talk about the video itself, Lonnie?
So this is one of our standard video products here. But just to kind of give you an idea, it's a roughly 6.5 foot tall by 11.5 foot wide size. Comparison-wise, this is a standard 6x8 scoreboard, so it's a little bit bigger than that. It is utilizing our 3.9 millimeter technology, but there's some things changing with that. That will be beneficial, I think, for you guys here in the future. But basically, this whole piece minus the panels that say anchor partner on the bottom is video. It's essentially just having one of these screens, but bigger, brighter, much brighter in your gym there.
And changeable. The one thing on here,
Yep.
on the L bar, you notice that welcome. That could be 50-50 tickets. That could be homecoming dance after the game or whatever. And sponsors here in the main, that could be a picture of your senior spotlight. Those sorts of things.
Yep.
Go ahead, Lonnie.
Or during the day, a lot of people are using it for, when you don't have athletic events going on there, they're using it for PE. A lot of PE instructors are using this as their location to do PowerPoint presentations, maybe a video of some stretch or something like that. Graduation, Veterans Day programs. There's a lot more uses than just athletic events for these displays.
Here's some good example
Yeah.
of some of the different deals. You guys have wrestling, I think, right? So we got, when we're talking track wrestling, that's a big thing. Be able to put that up there rather than pulling in the TV screens, TV monitors and such. Timeout brought to you by, and this is a good example of something we'll be getting into. This is what we call a feature. And that feature is your moment of exclusivity for your business. But it's also a thing where timeout, people are watching the board. So, and there's concerts are in there too, right? So you can feature your soloist or during any sort of concert. Movie night is a big thing. A lot of schools have done movie night, and it actually can be a great community gathering thing. But some booster clubs have used it as a more of a fundraiser too. They can sell pop and popcorn and have a nice fundraiser for themselves. You're really not supposed to charge for the tickets to get in. When it's something coming from Hollywood, you can get in trouble. So, but the fundraiser comes on there. But here's a couple of different examples. This is an old animation that we had for, what was that again? I forgot what it was.
Nice shot.
Nice shot, yeah, for a three-pointer. And like it could be a three-pointer, all those sorts of things. You notice how this is featured in this L bar is still around there. So we're not using the entire screen for that. And there's a reason for it. Here's an example of halftime. This is a newer example of a halftime brought to you by Green Builders. And it would be your business on there. once again, we're featuring it on the main screen where we have that. We had talked a little bit about the ability that there's possibilities for students afterwards when they're learning the system to go other places. And so, Lonnie, you want to talk a little bit about the classroom aspect?
So as I mentioned before, Daktronics was founded not necessarily to build the products that we're doing today. We had no idea actually what we were going to build. The reason we were founded was to provide opportunities to our students. So the whole foundation of Daktronics is rooted in students and providing opportunities to students. It's kind of why we exist. And our products are also, we have been tailored towards providing opportunities to your students here within your halls. And that's where we developed a curriculum to go along with the Videoboard. This curriculum is designed to allow students to learn skill sets in video technology, creating content, video production, some marketing. So it's really allowing them to dip their toes into a potential career if that's something they're interested in. Jerry talked a little bit about, you were talking a little bit about the professional stadiums and the college arenas. Like Jerry said, they utilize the exact same equipment, the same software, the same processing equipment, all the same equipment at the high school level. They learn that, and they're able to take that into a college setting or into the professionals at a later time. So
we call it show control.
Yeah. If you want to go, Jerry, to that, this slide right here. This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. So Connor Peters, he was a student at Liberty North High School in North Kansas City, and he was learning, kind of starting to dip his toes into video technology. Found out that, hey, this is something I like to do. He found kind of his passion and decided to take it to the next step and take his talents to Missouri Western, where he continued, went to school and continued to up his skills in video technology. Today, he's working for the Chiefs and the Royals. So, but it all started back here in high school.
One thing, this was within 8 years. The other thing is, not only Chiefs and Royals, he was promoted. I think he's the production manager at the Royals. So
even better.
Yeah.
But this is a story that started probably a decade ago or so. There's been many more stories throughout the country that are just like Connor.
Where the one that's always put Taylor Swift on?
I don't know. It's the Royals where he's promoted. I don't know the Chiefs. The Chiefs is where we should.
They got a Taylor camera.
Yeah,
that's all that camera right there.
Yeah.
Just put it on Taylor. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know if they do it as much on the video board there, or if that's more of the television production.
Yeah,
But during the television, you see it.
But these are just some of the area colleges.
D1 colleges.
Division I colleges where students can go to sharpen their skills in video technology. Daktronics actually created a program called Crew Connect. And the reason why it was created was to connect students with these event producers. So Eric Ray at South Dakota State, the different producers at all these different Division I colleges. But let's say somebody, I'll just pick one on here, let's say they're going way down to Missouri, Missouri State. Probably don't know anybody down there until you go to campus, but there's a way for that student to put his or her name in the hat and basically connect with that event producer and say, hey, I ran the Daktronics equipment at Freeman High School. I'm coming to Missouri State. I would love an opportunity to maybe do that same thing. The event producers actually like that because it usually takes them a year or two to be able to find that person. So it fast tracks them into starting to work at whatever college they go to. And with that, most of them are getting paid to do that because it's a production crew, you know, an athletic department and production crew. And some of them are also getting scholarships. And we've had one at Iowa State get a scholarship, and we've had one at Iowa. So there's some opportunity there as a student to maybe help, because of the skill set, to maybe help fund some of your living costs and your maybe even some of your costs of tuition or whatever, but even some scholarship.
Keep in mind, this is only the D1s. We talk about Augie, we talk about the Northerns. There's a lot of those that, if we put those all on here, we wouldn't have enough. There's a lot of them out there with the colleges. So we just wanted to focus on the D1s here because moving to different parts of the country and to be able to explain how that Crew Connect works, no matter what college you're going through that with the Daktronics. But one thing about it, when we're talking, those folks, they found their passion and they wanted to do that. But not every student that's running the boards are going to maybe want to go to that level. But beyond sports in the classroom, there's a lot of opportunity for these skill sets and these students will learn off of there. Here's an example from the Bureau of Labor about 2 years ago that they came out with this in 2023. Producers and directors to video editors to special effects artists. There's a lot of jobs being produced in those categories. Good paying jobs too, as you can see on the to a median pay. The thing about this category, it's growing at about a 10% growth rate here in the United States. The regular growth rate in the United States is 5%. So it's about double what the growth rate of normal jobs are. So a lot of jobs available for students with those skill sets. So when we talked about why it's good for the school, why it's good for those students. One of the things we want to talk about is why it's good for you as a business to be part of this. And when we do this, we've got about 9 different things that we're pointing to, creating awareness and visibility. How do we increase that brand loyalty for your business throughout the years? Interact with customers, how can we do that? We're going to show you a way that you can be part of that as well. But maybe the most important one that I look at is showcasing community and social responsibility. When consumers are looking at your connection with causes they care about, they look at that, and it can change how they do business with you, especially in today's age with social media. Things can go very quickly, right? And so when they know that they're partnering with the school, or the business is partnering with the school, chances are that they will want to do business with that business. A lot of different things going on with the gym. These are probably, I don't know if you guys, or Jake or Sherry, welcome Sherry, by the way. If you guys wanted to talk a little bit about all the events that are happening, and maybe even going back into the curriculum. I think Sherry, you had talked a little bit about what you guys may do here. Your curriculum coming up, right?
Yeah, we were talking about doing hype videos for the different, we just had 2 pep rallies that we could add some hype videos for, to get them ready for their state events, so.
We see that quite often, and students can be very creative on that too, especially with the right supervision from people that know what they're doing. And Sherry, you're a graphic artist, right?
Yep.
So that's a big thing. But a lot of events going on where your logo exposure or your commercial could be going in front of a lot of events throughout the year. We're talking about the graduation pep rallies. Veterans Day included on that too?
Veterans Day.
But you're not, okay, that's right, yeah.
Like you have concerts, you have.
Concerts, yeah. So many different things on there that we do there. So now we're going to kind of get in the nitty gritty. Here's what we're offering. Monty, we want to shuffle the deck here. Let me put this one up here.
It's just all one?
Yeah, it's all one. Yeah. But on here, I'm going to be going on that left side of that, the left column on there. The very opposite page that I forgot your name. What was your name?
Patrick.
Patrick, yeah. On that side, it's basically showing how it's going to look, kind of the pictures that we had. But we also talked about the academics, athlete, the budget, how it's going to affect the school. All those things are a wonderful thing. The back page, if you will, the other side of that sheet, is kind of the inventory, what each level. There's 3 different levels on here. We call them an anchor, is our largest sponsor. And that's what we're going to go through first. Then we'll go into founding and premier partner. Now here on the gym static signage, there's 2 places. Right now we've got 2 anchors underneath the video board and 2 anchors underneath the scoreboard on the other side for the best visibility for you guys.
Just to clarify, currently, go back to that slide please, currently the one on the left doesn't exist because it's located on the right. So we're planning on moving that one to the left and then the new video board would go on the right side.
And so that's where all the activities, graduation, all those things happen, so we definitely want it in that spot. Commercial.
When the world keeps changing, farmers don't need to be sold, they need to be helped. Precision risk management is much more than crop insurance. We are farmers and not
Spires.
to understand the
This boy plays at state.
opportunities and risks to provide a one-of-a-kind protection plan, backed with a full support team to lead the way to profitability. A true American company created to serve the American farmer.
The one thing I want to point out here, I made a mistake. This commercial would be basically on the entire video board. I'm only showing it zoned out. But we would probably have that video, when you're doing a commercial, using the entire span of the video board. So my apologies on that, but just didn't want to point that out, that it can be flexible. You can play it in there, but to me, I'd rather have it the full on a commercial with sound. Now that's something that's for the anchor partners, that's in-game or halftime. And that's something that the sponsor would bring to the table on that. That's something sponsor supplied. And if you don't have a produced one, in the days of these cell phones that we have, you can easily make these things. Now, you can even just do pictures and then do an audio over education. So
Previously, I was a principal in Wyndham, and this was 18 years ago when we got a video board, and we had a class similar to what we're looking at doing here, and we would send students out to the businesses, and the students would help to create the commercials, which was pretty fun. Fun for the kids, good experience for the kids, and people got a little bit of a laugh out of those commercials because they had the student humor that would be embedded within it. But
you know what's cool? The reason why we put the sponsor supplied right away, because they're probably developed like that. But we know right away it may not. But one of the things that I've heard at some other schools, they've actually used it on TV, those commercials that they use there, because it was, yeah. And so it has a, like you said, they laugh at it, or they like it because it has more meaning.
that's fun that you know the person.
Exactly, yeah, yeah. So that's on the commercials there. You get one of those during the game. Feature, this is no sound with this, but this is, remember I brought this up a little bit earlier, starting lineup brought to you by your business. And your business obviously showing where the Green Wilders is at. But one of those during a varsity home basketball game. The next one I always thought to think about as a billboard. We call it exposures. But these exposures are showing, and this is one, the features and the exposures are on this level. This is the main screen. And the only ones that are going to be on that main screen are anchors and foundings. Limited amount of sponsors that play here. So one thing that I always recommend on here, you can put on here pictures of your business, different things on here, but a QR code. You can direct them right to your, if you're hiring, direct them right to your site and they could fill out applications right through there. And that's what we see an awful lot nowadays. People on their phones, if you got a QR code, they could be going there right away. Next one, rotate the logo, same deal, but it's during non-basketball and volleyball, wrestling. And Sherry and I were talking about this last week, that you can have a 30-minute game, frankly, but it could be a 3-hour game. And one of the things that we have on that sheet in front of you, everything that we have there has to be done. Everything, if we're promising it, it has to be delivered. Volleyball, if it's a 30-minute game, we probably can't deliver 15, right? So that's where it goes on a rotating basis on the non-basketball. Wrestling too, if you don't have as many weight classes that show up that particular night, it may be a quick night. And then promotions. Here's a way to get in front of people there too. Have a kiosk. Another thing you could have is, we've had hospitals that have put out a blood pressure check, wellness check. We've done banks that have done, they have jersey signing on there. There's a lot of different things that you can do. Grocery store, they actually wanted help, and they had applications that students and other people could fill out during their particular night. But this is one night during basketball. You get together with Sherry to get your time on there, and it works out well. And be upfront, a lot of our businesses, and I cover from North Dakota down to Missouri doing these things, and not as many people, not as many businesses do this that I would like. But the ones who do, they get a very good return on their, good bang for their buck by doing this. The next couple is logo and link on the athletic website, a customized P announcement. This is basically 4 lines of copy, or it could be recorded and just played at a push of a button. The group P announcement is something that we've all heard. Here we want to thank all of our Freeman partners, and then the laundry list, if you will. Maybe 4 or 5 or of all the sponsors throughout. Social media to be determined, and I keep that phrasing in no matter what school I go to, because every school I go to is different on that, and they always expand upon that. Maybe it's Facebook, I don't know what you guys use, Snapchat, whatever you do, you can expand upon that. And I don't want anything on this document that puts it in concrete what it's going to be, because I know that it's going to be, you're going to be part of that. It's just a matter of, okay, how and what and when. That makes sense? Perfect. Last one is 4 activity passes of regular season varsity games and 2 bottles of water and popcorn for the night. So you're pretty well set up when you get there. Any questions on the anchor? Founding, then we go through a little quicker, because it's basically a lot of the same stuff. It's on the right side there, so you'll have it right in front of you too. This is on the other side. What, when you're talking east, west, north, south, which side of the gym? North.
Northeast.
Northeast, yep. So that's where you notice here, we've got those in black, they're founding partners, right there. And there's 5 of those. And so it's going to be up there for a permanent piece of signage. Commercial. Difference between here, the commercial and the anchors. Anchors were during the game or halftime. This is before the game. Minimum of 10 exposures on there, so not quite as many exposures. Also no feature on there. And then rotating during non-basketball games, just like we talked about on the anchors. Logo on the athletic website, not a link. Group P announcement, social media. So you can see it's a scaled down version of the anchor, but it still has very good value for your business as we go forward. And then on the activity passes, there's 2 of those for all games and 1 bottle of water and popcorn. So the 3rd level is right below that. And this is something which is, frankly, in the last, I think, 5-6 years when we've been able to do this. We always used to have to, if somebody, I want to be part of this project, but we never could before because of the fact that the whole board had to be used. We could not zone it out like this. And so how do you do that on larger sponsors that are paying a big investment level? You start adding a bunch of smaller businesses because they want to be a part of that project. How do you do that? Well, we can do that now. We can put that on the right zone or the bottom zone. And those, all that is a digital, it's a rotating digital piece on there. And there is no limit on how many that you would have at this level. This level there would be, on the anchors and foundings. We do have a limit on there, 4 anchors and 5 foundings. Here, there isn't. And that's what's kind of cool, because you can, and that's on an annual basis there too. So when we're doing that, so this is what each level is. And before I get into here on why companies look at you as being a good ambassador, partnering with your school, and why it's a good thing. Probably are wondering, what is the investment, right? And so we're looking, the anchors are $4,000 per year for a 5-year term of paying, but 10-year term of being up there. Am I saying that correctly, Jake?
Start over one.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, because you're paying for 5 years, the first 5 years, but your logo and everything is gonna be for 10 years. So basically, you're paying only for half of what you're gonna be up there for. That make sense? And Sherry or Jake, you want to maybe explain it better?
So $4,000 per year for 5 years, but your signage will be up there for 10 years.
The first 5 years, yeah.
So the last 5 years, you would not have to pay anything for your advertisement to stay.
Yeah. That's very generous of the school doing that. So, founding partners, same premise, $2,000. Pay for the first 5 years, each year, you're on for an extra 5 years. Premier partner is a little different because that's on an annual basis. So that would be $1,000 per year on an annual basis.
Thought process that went into those price points, we wanted to pay for the board, we wanted to have some revenues that would come in for our athletic programs and activities, but we didn't want to price gouge our community. The anchor partners, that is set up to where that'll pay for the video board. So the amount of money that we gain throughout those $20,000 per anchor partner will pay for the $80,000 for the board. Next year with the founding partners, that would be revenues that will go into our athletic and activities programs, and then the premier partners as well.
Okay. Questions on that at all?
We can talk about what's available.
We should.
So this has been, I've been just tremendously pleased with the response that we got from the community for just a short time. It's been, really, this has been out there for a week. It's been on social media, and we have 2 commitments right now for the anchor partners. So the 2, if we can go back to that,
Yep.
where you can see both of them. So on the front page, you got the anchor partners on the top. If the way we've numbered them is from left to right, 1 to 4 on those top. So 1 would be on the left in the black, 2, and then 3 and 4 in white. So 3 and 4 have been committed, or somebody's committed to those. The 1 and 2 on the left side is still available. And then for the bottom picture, we have the 5 available there. Same concept, 1 on the left, 5 on the right. 1 is taken, 2 is still available, 3, 4, and 5 are taken. And then we have the, like they said, the unlimited for the premier partnerships, which would be that $1,000. So 1 spot at $2,000 available, 2 spots at the $4,000 per year available, and then unlimited for the $1,000.
And one thing I do want to bring up here too, because loyalty to schools, that are to businesses who are working with schools or partnering, very valuable. Turnkey sports and entertainment, they asked this question a couple of years ago, knowing that a company or brand is a sponsor for your high school, are you more or less likely to use that service or buy that product from them? And 76% agree. Obviously, that's why we use it, because it is such a high loyalty piece. So they're going to be buying from you if you're helping the school. 19% are neutral, 3% disagree with that statement. 0.9 didn't know I'm on there. But I can also bring this out a little bit, what happens when companies support causes that consumers care about. Obviously, the school, they care about. Especially small local schools, they care about that a lot. But you're looking at that, 93% of the customers are more loyal to that company that are doing that. So those are impressive loyalty statistics on there. And I just bring it, like I mentioned earlier, I cover from North Dakota down to Missouri, and the projects that I work on, and frankly, DSM as a whole throughout the entire nation, we have probably about a 75 to 80% renewal rate on that. Usually, it's 5 years, and they renew for the following 5 years. Here, you don't need to do that, because you're up for the entire 10. But the reason I bring that up is because those folks are not only doing it for the return on their investment, but I think that they're probably doing it more on the return on objective, because it's helping the students, right? It's helping the budgetary with the school. It's also helping those students behind the scenes and the athletes. And obviously, entertaining fans. We want to put people in the seat here at the school. And I know you guys do some online streaming, but that's been a factor at some of our schools that people are just looking to online stream. And this is something, the cool content that students create. Because, like you said, the commercial, they like seeing that from their own students. I know who made that. And so they're coming to games to be able to see that. So this is a very important part of there. And so when we're doing this, we talk about only 4 of the 9 different things, but if you want to get more in depth, we certainly can. But I want to respect your time as well. But it is a way to be able to associate your brand, your product, with an exciting piece, exciting things going on in the community. And we've seen businesses do that throughout the country. And here, this could change. We're hoping to get all of our sponsors fall of 2025. We're pretty well there on those larger sponsors. This could, depending on when we're putting everything in, on some different things, we may try to get it in earlier, or depending on.
You guys shared some exciting news tonight that I was anticipating January would be installing of the board. They just found out last week that the next board, the next level of board, the newest editions is coming out, so it'll be higher resolution, much fancier, better quality is coming out, and so we're thinking that the target date would be for graduation. So we were thinking January for the first payment, and now we'll probably go to more of the fiscal year budget for the school, so leaning towards, this isn't solidified yet, but leaning towards that it would be July, that the first payment would be due for it, and then we'd have potentially for graduation, and then all of volleyball, basketball for the next year. So it's very exciting that we can get in. We would probably be the first school, it's for sure in South Dakota, that would have the new version of the board, which is pretty exciting.
Questions? Yeah, go
Well, I was
ahead.
gonna ask Jake, I know this is for the gym, were you planning on doing anything like this for,
Outside.
I know like Sioux Valley
Yeah.
has a really good one.
Potentially in the future, but right now we're focusing on the gym. For the stadium project, the track, the stadium itself, getting where our fans don't stare in the sun and tear down that old concrete stadium, that's the first priority for the stadium, get that functional again and the way it needs to be. And possibly, we'll see what the future brings. But right now, for the indoors, this is what we're targeting to help improve our indoor facility.
We've had a lot of schools that have done the indoor first, and then they liked it, and let's try that football outdoors too. So it depends what the school wants, however, but we've seen other schools do that. So, in fact, we'll probably go into a few here this fall and winter, doing more of these presentations.
Well, Sioux Valley has both, they have indoor.
Yep. We did that in 2020. When I was, so I was talking about David Squires. He was part of the school board back then. Maybe he still is. I'm not sure. But yeah, they used to have a message board back in the day. That's been about 20 years ago. They had just you remember that up in their gym? It was just a message board, and all they did on it was put stats on on there, like stat panels on the edge of what you guys have. So, and then they.
So the reason I know that is I officiated high school
Oh,
football,
yeah.
and a number of years before you were here, I thought it was just terrific. So I talked to their AD, and
Oh.
he gave me all the information, and I passed that along. I said, so I'm glad you guys are looking into this, because they said it paid for itself in no time.
Oh, yeah.
And it was,
They did really, and frankly, they could have done a little bit more too than what I suggested.
it was, I mean, when they had it set up for the game, it was really nice.
Could you give an example? What do you mean by?
Well, so like they had, like every time out or something, if I recall, it's been a couple of years since that, it's probably been 3-4 years. They had, every time out, they advertised businesses. If there was a play, say like a tackle was made by a Sioux Valley kid, each kid had kind of a photo of themselves, just a still photo, and if the announcer said tackle number 23, John Doe, they'd have a picture of him, or a touchdown or something.
Maybe flipping the ball or something?
No, it was just a still
Oh,
photo.
okay.
They had no like replay or,
No, I mean, because you can actually use a little animation on
as I
that.
recall, it was just a still photo, which I thought was,
Yeah,
and it was, I thought that was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, you must have the replay thing, because when here does all the replays, they sponsor all the replays that they put up on there.
But I didn't see any on any replays, no replays were shown on their board that I saw, that I recall.
yeah. Football or football? when you-
I'm not sure if it's football or what, but I know they do.
Basketball, once in a while, gets a little bit hard to do that because it's such a back and forth. Football, a little bit easier because you have huddle, things like that, but.
The reason I say is, 'cause, we had that stadium going up, and that's why I didn't know what, they were doing and I didn't know, and I didn't ask him, but like we host quite a few track meets, and we will continue to with what we're putting up. Does that have the capability to have replay of like sprint finishes or, because I always.
Well, does that have a camera on it?
You don't have a good,
Yeah.
photo finishes, and I thought that would be pretty nice at track, because a lot of times, depending on where you're sitting or something, you can't quite see.
And Lonnie, I mean, I know that you just have a camera hooked in to the system. I don't know, Lonnie, if you want to expound upon that at all.
Yeah, we have a school in Minnesota that actually puts a camera on their golf cart.
Really?
Looking down the finish so you can see that view. So it's kind of nice to give views that you, as an audience member, can't see.
Yeah.
Kind of like what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You just can't see that from different areas, so.
I'm getting a little ahead of us.
Like on here with that camera, you have a graduation speaker, you can have them up on there too. That would be a pretty simple deal, just have a police camera on there.
And you can do that indoors as well.
That's, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we'll have contracts that are available that what I've used is just a good faith. If somebody says, I'll take spot location one for this board, then if they commit to that verbally, then that's where I pencil it in and consider it off the board. Is there anybody that has any interest in securing any of the spots? Don't feel like you have to tell me tonight. You can certainly think about it, but there's only one spot left for the one,
Yeah.
so. If it, yes, yep, spot forward, right? Yeah.
Yes, that'll work.
But I know Sherry's contact information, well, you guys know each other, right, I would imagine, but your contact information is on the sheet on there, so if you have any questions, please let Sherry or Jake know on there too. If you have any questions on the equipment or the marketing, we're happy to answer any of those too. They would just give you our number and give us a holler, or if you have questions right now on any of that.
How long do the boards usually last?
Great question. I'll let Lonnie take that because he's great in
Yeah.
what we're doing.
Well, like Jake alluded to, Friday, we were introduced to our next generation video. So it's really exciting, as Jake
Yeah.
showed. And anytime, the way that our warranties work, or what I would say from a lifetime standpoint, is when we can't supply parts for that anymore. Now, that display could go on for many years with no problems, but you just don't know, hey, can I get parts? So the way we explain it is, from the last time that video board, the last video board in that generation is manufactured, that's when we start our 10-year promise for parts. So the reason why, talking to Jake and letting him know this news is we're at the infancy stage of that series, meaning we're at the beginning of that series. Kind of like when you purchase a new pickup, you might be buying the new design, and then they produce that for X amount. It's kind of a similar thing. We're in that time frame right now, and going to be releasing that here very soon. So in that case, minimum 10 years, but more likely because of you're looking at buying the board in the infancy stage of that series, probably more than that. But we are, from a conservative standpoint, our engineers always say 10-year minimum. So,
The one thing during that time, software, it's computers, so probably need to replace that during that time.
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, because that's a,
With the system, you're going to get the software is run on a computer. There's a rack with media players. So computers, that's a little different because I don't know, I'm probably not a tech here, but in most cases, computers are probably being replaced about every 4 years in a school district. So with our system, we usually recommend a control system upgrade, like a computer, about year 7. Because you think about a 7-year computer, it's probably starting to slow down a little bit. So those types of pieces are a little different. But when we talk about the physical hardware, the panels, the players, other pieces of the actual video board, that's where we come up with that 10-year.
modules, all those sorts of things. Yeah. Great question.
If there would not be any additional add-ons, though, you'd still be at that 4,000 for 5 years with the 10 years that you would have here. Advertising up there, visible. Same thing for the 2,000.
Yeah, it wouldn't look good if your ad's up there at year 8 and the video board's broken. That'd just be a bad scenario. So
We don't want that.
Warranty for the new one, warranty for 7 years, that we said earlier. 5 years, something.
for the new display,
Yeah.
a minimum of 10 years.
Warranty.
Yeah, minimum parts availability for 10 years, minimum. But like I said, it usually goes a little beyond that when you're buying the new technology early.
Yep.
Good questions. Any more?
Yeah.
I'm hoping there's more. Make me work some more here. So I like it.
Lonnie, he's an equipment guy. He knows his stuff, so.
Whose service is that?
We have a service partner network that if you need a technician to come out, we can do that. The partner that we use is Muth Electric. I'm sure you've heard of them, but Muth Electric does our installations. They do our servicing. We do have our own technicians as well. Electronics has technicians involved, Ricky, forever. But that's something we value our partnerships with our electric companies and other companies to be trained. They're all trained in electronics equipment. It just allows us to respond faster when we can have a bigger network of technicians than just having a few, electronics.
Is that additional cost to the school, or?
Yeah, so the parts wouldn't. The parts are covered, but if you got somebody come on site, then there would be labor cost for that, yeah. So a lot of the stuff we do anymore, a lot of the issues are more, it's not necessarily hardware related much anymore, it's more software related. And anymore, our technicians, our help desk can just log right into that computer and solve issues now. They can look at the players that control the video board, they can look at the software itself. I would say a majority, I don't know what percentage, but it's definitely a majority of the service cases that we see. So when there's a service event, there's a case that's assigned to it. If you look at the service cases, the majority of them are either player or software related, and tech can just log in, see what's going on, do their thing, and it's done. And that doesn't cost anything, our help desk, there is no.
How often do you guys update your software for new features?
We usually add features, usually on a yearly basis. So we take feedback from our customers of how can we make the software easier to use? Maybe there's a feature, hey, it'd be cool if we could do this. Whatever the case is, we take that feedback and then go through our development process, from a development standpoint. They'll pick whatever, seems to be the biggest, the most popular ones, whatever, and then do new releases, but,
Question that's come up would be if let's say somebody inherits the business, so that business commits, somebody else inherits that business, and I imagine if they keep the name, that new owner of that business could just decide to continue with that sponsorship, but if it changes the business name,
That's on their dime, changing the logos and
just the
stuff like
signage.
that. Yeah, on the app, and then obviously you just have to redo it on the digital side of it too. And that's where your class would come into play on redoing it at that time. But that's what we've seen, like if somebody's gone out of business or something like that, we've seen that. Now, the tricky part on there is whether it's in the first 5 years or the last 5 years. The last 5 years is just paying for them. The first part was, hey, that's a legal contract, that if they're buying the business, that's part of what they're doing is advertising. You know what I mean? That they would have to continue, say it's on year 3 that they bought out, they would need to pay the school
The new owner.
4 and 5. Yep.
And the only additional cost outside of the $4,000 or $2,000 would be to
Paying for
pay
that.
for the new signage.
And putting it up, and on the signage itself, it's all vinyl, and it's just applied on the.
over top of
it.
it, yeah.
Yep.
And if it's the same business name, that would be.
You don't even need to worry about it. No.
Just taking over the contract.
Yeah, yeah.
And we see companies go through a rebrand.
Yeah.
That's probably the more common, is a rebrand.
Yeah.
And then anytime, anybody that goes through a rebrand knows that they're gonna have to update their signage and pay for it, and they budget for that, so it's similar to that, so.
Yeah, that happens quite often. When they just had one up in North Dakota that bank got bought out, and they're just have to redo everything on there. Great questions. Any others? I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. It was getting to know all of you, all the hopers. And what was the saying, Jake? There's more
Gophers and gophers.
gophers and gophers.
That's
There we
easy to
go.
remember.
Good. It's been nice meeting all of you. So. And I do have a question. How do you know Max?
We went to college together.
Did you? Okay. So you know Rebecca then too?
Yeah.
She's
a Hofer.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
From here on. Now you're on Hofer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
That's slipping my mind.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But,
Well, if you got any other questions, we'll probably stick around for a little bit. Feel free to
just gonna.
come up and ask.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for coming. Appreciate it. So.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch your name. Penny, nice to meet you.
I'm assuming that the last one is.
What's your last name?
No, I just want somebody.
E.T., yeah. So my
Grab one.
daughter's friend was a Smith. So her dad's the IT director, coordinator. Yeah, Smith, because I grew up with Schmitz, and I want to say Schmitz. Yeah. Yeah.
class, and then, I have right now.
Yeah, it took me a while,
Okay.
to
So can I do that already?
understand that. You were saying,
No,
Smith.
Wait, no,
wait another year.
I think it's 5 feet, right?
no,
No,
kids to be a
not 5 feet.
ceramic designer.
Ashley Mendelson.
For a lead year doing
Getting it all blind.
So I just took a whole day of my intro. Coming up. And I'm like, the class you guys have to look
I
at.
thought that her last name.
I said, how many of you would be interested in doing it?
Okay, I could.
Helping with the videos, and then helping.
You get it.
4 to 10 already.
So I'm kind of a machine or that timeline, whatever, because of course.
Oh, no, that's not it.
So we're hoping, that's just, I think once.
She is very familiar.
Then
No,
I can
she is very familiar. I think I have seen her. 'Cause I remember some white first. Yeah, yeah, so that might be her.
I didn't get a chance to introduce them.
Okay. Yeah.
There was some of my hopers that were coming in there. Okay, all right.
Well, nice to meet you.
From this area?
On my life.
She traveled a lot for that drive. How many miles since she's traveled?
And softball,
North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia.
It's hard getting in softball. I know just from Cassie's experience. Well, here maybe a little
Right.
bit less than Cassie, a little further.
you're further north, yeah, but so we tend to, we go games in the south, we take over, we find indoor games, where we have, where we can play.
Yeah, for Bailey.
Yeah, because at Sioux Center, I think, that's what Cassie does,
Her son.
like in the March games.
Right away, that's one,
Yeah.
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 It's cold, but at
But at
least
least you get cool snow.
but you're guaranteed games.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so you're a spectator, so
Oh, I forgot to tell you that.
you're a spectator, right? Because you're,
There it is, right.
I mean, you're playing, I mean, you're probably so bad, yeah.
Okay.
Volleyball practice tonight.
Getting ready for regions now.
Well,
Tuesday we're here.
Oh, here.
We have to go back to first.
Well, I know Braylon sure enjoys it.
She's the best. She's the best.
She just loves
I
it.
know, it's fun having her.
It's our age.
I wanted to,
Yeah.
I took a picture of her last night, and I wanted to
That is
get
true.
her, the hydration specialist.
Oh, that's funny.
I don't know if I'm gonna get it done.
Yep.
What's that?
That's why she's gonna be here till 2023.
That's where the, I was wondering on there. Okay, that's it. I like that.
Especially when
Now she gets to go. No, and Remy does it, so she's.
Well,
Well, anyway.
Nice meeting you.
so if you have any more questions, we will get those out. I just have to tweak the contract a little bit fit us.
So then this one.
Yeah, this will be right above that, or it says that trust that one. And you'll be right there.
Okay.
You'll be on that one. Yep. You okay? It's okay. You want to do number 2? Okay, this will be closer to the doors, right?
We cut them almost underneath.
It'll be almost underneath, yeah. This one.
Yeah. Number 2 will be kind of underneath.
Okay. So you want 2, not 4? Okay, all right, 2. Yep, yep, you're fine.
Yeah, I'll do number 2.
Sounds like a winner.
Yeah. Better switch my notes.
What business are you with?
Arborist. My husband is
Arborist.
a tree.
Yeah, gotcha, okay.
Cuts them down, grinds them up, removes everything, even the shadow.
Okay, even.
You do the sum grinding then too, I would imagine, right?
Yes, yes. That's good.
Gotcha.
Through that right now.
I kind of like.
How big of an area does he cover?
Oh, he goes all the way up to,
4 of them are,
well, he just went on to Iowa this last weekend, or to Kansas, recorded. And then he goes all the way up to, way past Mitchell, and then he goes way past Salem.
I got a couple of guys.
He has a contract with the electric
Kind of
company.
grown into my.
Oh, so underneath Highline poles,
Yeah.
electric.
And then he goes to private townships and.
Is he doing a lot more with,
Yep.
ash?
Kind of down the field.
Oh, that hasn't, he hasn't really, really? I would have thought that
You know what, he
he
is
Yep.
busy doing other stuff.
that he doesn't want to get into that.
He just doesn't, he's got plenty of other stuff to keep him busy.
He does he, well, probably not, then I'm probably.
He doesn't treat anybody.
That's my
He cuts
question.
them down.
That's what I was wondering,
No,
that cutting
he will cut
down.
them down.
Okay, but he doesn't treat it.
No, he's easier to cut down.
Oh, definitely. The treating is expensive.
Yeah, yeah, he just doesn't want to mess with it.
I've got an acreage, and I've got probably 20 acres of trees from the road to my place, and then I've got about 20 acres enclosed. So I'm gonna be cutting some of those down just right now, just get it down.
Yeah.
But I don't wanna cut them all. I wanna get some new growth in there.
That's what tells me, so you know.
Yeah.
Maybe that you'll need shade or something.
Yeah.
That's what you usually find is we'll go back.
Start a new tree.
Exactly.
Don't mess with it. Every single
And you
year.
guys probably know John Ball then.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the one thing he says, when you're planting, make sure it's good for there, but don't plant all the same ones.
I know.
Like-
Yeah, lots of different ones.
Because that's what happened with the ash and with Dutch elm.
Yeah.
All that,
Yeah.
when those diseases hit,
Yeah.
you don't. And if you only have one or two, or if
If
you have the same variety,
maybe you split them up and you say, okay.
well, that's interesting, that's pretty cool.
Is it a neighbor?
I do a lot of chipping with wood. I've got a 3-point and decent sized achy dig in this. He's probably got the big ones.
Yeah, he has big ones.
Yeah, I'd love to have one of those, but I don't do enough. I just do my own.
Yeah, he keeps busy.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks, guys, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you. Nice meeting you.
Yes,
Thank you.
here.
Oh, it's still recording?
Oh, I never thought about that. I know it. I've been watching it.
See ya.
See ya.
See you, okay, Tuesday. Tuesday? Tuesday.